Hey everybody, John Spalsato and Sharon Caffini here from the Arizona Home Group, and we're about to give you our September market report.
There is a lot of noise in the media right now about what's going on with the real estate market, and we're here to clear some things up.
All right, so we're going to start with inventory like we do all the time. So inventory's come up quite a bit. We talked about that. However, the last couple of weeks has been a little bit of a tapering off of inventory now, and that's because there's less new listings to the market by week. It's kind of interesting.
I think a lot of sellers are just sitting tight. They have a lot of equity. They're probably locked in at good interest rates, and there's really no sense of urgency. A lot of sellers were selling in the spring because, number one, that's the hottest time of year to sell, but they knew that they were going to get these crazy offers and sell for way above what their house was actually really worth.
And what people don't realize too is this is very seasonal. Like this end of the summer is usually very slow, and it's kind of just picks up a little bit around fall, but usually the fourth quarter is a slow month for new listings anyway.
Yeah, good time for buyers, not so much for sellers.
Yeah, so speaking of buyers, so the next metric that we measure is listings going under contract, right? So how many buyers are out there writing contracts? And that's down, but it's actually flattened out. And that's actually following a summer pattern similar to the listings.
Yeah, we see this every summer, but in this particular case, buyers are really kind of waiting because interest rates have gone up so high. It's pushed a lot of people's affordability right out the window, so they're just not able to buy at the moment.
Yeah, there's just a lot of people just kind of waiting to see what's going on with the Fed, and there's just a lot of uncertainty there right now. So understandably, listings under contract are down, but it's not horrible. 7,800 homes under contract, that's not bad. But like we said, 7,800 homes under contract, we've still got buyer activity out there, but not the way it was, where the pendulum is sort of shifting from that seller's market towards the buyer's market. How's that looking right now?
Yeah, well, there's 17 cities that make up the Phoenix metro area, and right now about 9 of them are actually in buyer's markets.
Buyer's markets.
Yep. Yeah. And it's mostly the outlining cities.
Yeah, I mean, the entry-level price points, basically, under 400,000, those are the buyers who really got hit hard with these interest rate bumps, and they just got knocked out of the market. So that's the outlying areas, really, and that pricing is really what's been most affected by this pendulum swing so far. Okay, so now that things are swinging away from the sellers and more towards the buyers, what's coming next is we're seeing price reductions, right? So we've talked to this last couple of months, been a lot of price reductions over the last couple of months this summer. We're starting to see that taper off a little bit, but there's still 3,100 price reductions in MLS last week.
Yeah, and these are mostly sellers that had priced too high to begin with. They were sort of the sellers that are looking in the rearview mirror of what had sold in their neighborhoods 3 or 4 months ago. So they listed really high, and they had to sort of come down to reality. But also sellers that were more desperate to get rid of the product that they had. We have a lot of iBuyers here in the Valley, so we have a lot of homes on the market that have to be sold. These aren't traditional sellers that can wait it out. These are homes that had to get moved. So they've been the #1 price reductions of the category.
Yeah, well, like you said, a lot of people have a lot of equity. They don't have a gun to their head that they have to sell. Yeah. You do have these iBuyers, though. It's kind of interesting. I mean, the inventory just for OfferPad and Open Door alone, they've got over 1,500 homes in the inventory, and they've only sold like about 450 year to date. So they have 3 times as many homes in their inventory than they're actually selling.
Right,
so,
and they got to move them. So we will see those prices coming down.
There's a good opportunity for those buyers.
Yeah.
All right, so that leads us to pricing, right? Yep. So, where have we been, where we're headed? So if you look at the trend line for the last 30 years, Phoenix has been appreciating at about 6 to 7% per year on average. And we've just done what in the last 18 months?
We've gone up 35% in 18 months, which is unprecedented.
It's crazy. So there's got to be a natural pullback.
Yeah.
So we reached our peak in May with the median home price of $480,000. We've come down about 9% so far since May at the top, and there's probably a little bit more room to go.
Yeah, but really what that will do in the end is that we're just going to end up where we should have been had we not had that huge price jump in that short amount of time. We'll just kind of end up after a price correction where we would have been in a normal market.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, we're really not losing value. We're just losing appreciation value. The houses are still appreciating, and houses today are worth more than they were a year ago.
Right, just at a slower pace than what they were before.
Yeah. So in summation, it's actually a weird market right now where there's benefits to both sellers and buyers right now. So if you're a seller, there's 5 reasons why it's a great time to be a seller right now. First of all, listings have stabilized, as we said, so there's not more listings and more competition coming on the market. You also probably have a ton of equity to work with right now. So if you drop your price a little bit or negotiate a little bit on your price, you're still going to make a good chunk of change on your money. You can also offer concessions to buyers, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, but basically you've got some money to work with to help that buyer afford your house. Buyers are still buying turnkey houses out there. What that basically means that if you do a little staging, get your house fixed up really well, do a little paint, do a little fixing up, you're going to get your house sold. You're going to get it for
put a
top
little
dollar.
effort in.
Put a little effort into it, you're going to sell it, because good homes are still selling.
Yes.
And then the final news is that we're not going to see a big rush of new listings to the market, usually until like February or March. So right now, again, you have less competition for sellers out there.
Okay, so if you're a buyer, there are 5 reasons why it's a great time for you right now. Number 1, everybody's kind of thinking the same thing and holding tight. So you have a lot less competition. People think prices are going to go down. And while they may adjust some, as we just talked about, we're just going to normalize and end up where we should have been.
Yep.
There's more inventory than there has been in 3 years, so you have a lot more choices out there.
That was crazy. It's hard.
I mean, you couldn't get a house, honestly.
Yeah.
We really struggled with our buyers this past year, so this is a great, opportunity for buyers to have choices now. And the quarter that's coming up, fourth quarter, is historically always the best time for a buyer to buy, but even better this year because, again, you have more listings than you've had in the past 3 years, and you have a lot less competition. Not everybody's looking to buy a home during the holidays, so you can take that and use it to your advantage. And the sellers have a ton of equity, as he just mentioned, to negotiate with. So whether that means a price reduction on the home that you're going to just offer less than what they're asking, or for concessions towards your closing costs, less out-of-pocket money for you, or we're also seeing rate buy-downs. So that gives you a better rate because rates are high right now, but historically speaking, they're actually still really good. But with the seller's equity, we can use that to our advantage on the buying side. So
yeah, it's this crazy market right now where it's advantages for sellers and buyers if you take action. Okay, there's a lot of people waiting on the fence to see what's going to happen. Now's the time to jump in if you want to sell or to buy. All right, so that was our September market report for 2022. I'm John and this is Sharon, and on behalf of Thea and Selene and Nadia.
Thank you so much for joining us. Please, if you found this information helpful, we do this every month. Go to our YouTube page, Arizona Home Group, subscribe, like us, and hit that notification bell so you'll get notified when we make new videos.
You guys, we'll see you next month. Take care.
Bye.